Afrosoul Rhapsody, the latest musical offering by songstress Plaxedes Wenyika, is set to be a game-changer. With sold-out shows under her belt, the renowned Zimbabwean R&B singer and songwriter believes she still has what it takes to serenade any audience. She joined me earlier to tell me about her 8th studio album. This is how our conversation went.
Being grown and wanting music that would speak to a mature audience, and myself in particular, music I could relate to, because I just realized that a lot of the music we currently had or have is more youth oriented, and sometimes I just want chilled, good vibes music. So I was like, why not do it myself?
So is this a shift away from your previous album or from your very first album, which was what, almost 20 years ago?
Not really. I would say this is more of the music evolving. The music evolving in the sense that it's very laid back, more of your mid-tempo vibe, a lot of live instruments in it. So it's just an extension of what I already was doing.
Okay, so let's talk about personal growth, because you've said you're older, you're more mature. So how do you see the market? How did you prepare for the number of tracks that you've produced on this album?
Well, by the time I decided I was recording, I knew I wanted at least 10 songs on the track. And I had a good idea of the kind of content I wanted, the kind of things I want to talk about. I didn't want to do a generic album, the usual expected stuff. I wanted songs that would talk about what people are going through as they evolve into adults. Because when I started off in my 20s, it was very much starry-eyed love, and life was going to be exciting, you know. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm actually 43 now, I find that I look at life with less of rose-tinted glasses. So you see things, you understand it's always black and white, sometimes it's gray.
So when we look at this particular album, is there a sense that we were able to pick up from some of the tracks your life experiences over the last 20-odd years since your very first album?
Definitely. You definitely can pick a sense of that. For example, there are songs like Amai. Amai is a reflective song about the journey of adulthood. And you know, when you're young, your mom will tell you certain things that, oh, life is like this, or maybe don't trust people. And then when you go out there, you get burnt, and you're like, oh, now I get it. This is what she meant. So there's songs like that. Then, as usual, love is my forte. So the love songs that are there are spicy. They're more interesting. So I have intimate songs, you know, about you and your lover and getting ready, like a get it on type of song. There's songs about heartbreak, especially when from a woman's perspective, because I feel like sometimes people tend to sort of like sweep the experience under the rug and never really say what it is that women go through. So you find there's situations where women give up their lives to follow a man's dream, and at some point a man can leave them. What then happens? So it's telling a story from that perspective. Someone can fall in love with someone's person, and when you're older you kind of get it because you see it happening a lot. Now it's not like, oh, those people, it's people you know, it's things that are happening within your proximity. And as you're older, you find you become less judgmental because everyone has a story. So there's a song on the album called Story, and when we wrote it as 3 artists, songwriters. We were thinking along those lines that we want every single person to find their story in the album.
Now, one of the things that you've done, one of the things you said in an interview that I read, was that you want to go international, that you are speaking to international audiences.
Yes.
Collaborations, I suppose, are the order of the day. But also this production. This production was produced in South Africa.
Yes, it was. It was produced in South Africa. I had a very good friend of mine, Tino, Big Boy. He was my main producer, and he got me the different artists to work on it. So your musicians, your songwriters, and I also brought in my flair, and I think we did an amazing thing. So I think the South African audience has something interesting to listen to from Zimbabwe. So does the rest of the world. So interesting times.
So when you talk about this album, you refer to it being spicy. You also speak about international audiences. Now,
Yes.
when we talk about collaborations, do we get a feel, a sense of different type of sounds? You know, I mean, South Africa has a big Amapiano flavor, right? Do we feel any of that vibe? Or is it all very much still Plax?
It's very much Plax, but for a wider audience. So the way we play it, it does sound very much Zimbabwean, because that is where I come from, and that's what we have. But there are elements of R&B, soul, jazz. So we'll find common ground there.
So let's talk about your favorite track on the album. Do you have a favorite one?
I have a favorite one each day. I'm biased, but I'd say if someone were to listen to the album, there are 3 songs I would recommend so that they get a feel of who Plaxedes is and what I'm capable of. The first song I would recommend them is a song called Muchero. The second song would be Story. Then the third song, that's where it gets tricky. I would say maybe for a bit of R&B, I would recommend a song called Runako.
Now, 21 years ago when you started out, social media was nowhere near as big as it is now and as a source of engagement.
True.
So how do you use Instagram, how do you use X and other social media platforms to engage with your fans?
Well, I'm big on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my main 2 platforms. I'm not much of an X person. I think the conversations and the vibe, for me as an individual, it doesn't work. So on Facebook, you find that for the past couple of years, I think we go back up to 7, I've always kept in touch with my audience. And we've had more of an, I think, intimate platform to get to know each other. Plaxedes is a human being. She's got a sense of humor, or I write and talk about the things that matter to me. And so you find I've steadily grown my page. I'm almost like at 200,000 followers on Facebook and 60,000 on Instagram. And it's very interesting because you find that on Instagram we have more of a younger audience, whereas on Facebook I tend to realize that the people I really started with, wherever in the world they are, they're mainly on Facebook. So Facebook's home for me.